On the Hill Patrick Sports Talk Radio, and we're talking with Gig'em 247 Sports, Jeff Tarpley. Jeff, welcome on the Hill, my man.
How you doing, guys?
Let's get off into tomorrow's big game, Southwest Classic, Arkansas, Texas Stadium. Jeff, when you head to Jerry's World tomorrow morning, what will you be looking for in this big rival, former Southwest Conference rivalry between Arkansas Razorbacks and Texas Stadium Aggies, in your opinion?
Well, I think given the recent history of the two teams, you have to give a significant edge to A&M, at least in terms of winning the game. I think from A&M's standpoint, they have to find a way to get back to running the ball well, at least against teams that aren't, non-Power 5 and FCS programs. I think they have to find a way to show people that they can do some of the things that they did last year with regard to power and counter, and also in terms of their pass pro, stabilizing that offensive line and making Kellen Mond's life a little bit easier when he's dealing. I think that's the big thing, because otherwise this isn't a matchup that you're sitting there looking at Arkansas necessarily and going, what does Arkansas need to do to win the game? Obviously, they're going to have to get an extraordinarily high level of play compared to what we've seen out of them so far this year,
right,
and probably win the turnover battle by at least +2. I think from A&M's standpoint, it's just a matter of playing error-free football, not to allow Arkansas to put themselves in position to pull off the upset and to rectify some of the issues that A&M has had, particularly with regard to running the football earlier in this season.
And which leads me to that question: what can A&M do to get themselves going, Jeff, in tomorrow's ball game, running the football? I mean, you are very right. When you watch this team in the previous weeks, they've had trouble, with the loss of Travion Williams on to the NFL. Who's going to be some of the guys, Jeff, that for people that may be at the game or going to be viewing the game, might want to keep an eye on to get that running game there at A&M going?
I think the most visible aspect of the running game, from at least a fan standpoint, is freshman running back Isaiah Spiller. In the two games in which A&M's faced outmanned opponents, he's had a significant impact because he's got great vision, balance, runs with power. He squares his shoulders up pretty quickly after he gets the football, makes great cuts. So that's the thing that's going to be most visible. I think the thing that is less visible as far as people watching the game is to watch the backside blocks, especially when A&M runs to the right side, coming from the left side of the offensive line. And in addition, no matter where they run, the backside blocks in terms of the H-backs and tight ends. A&M likes to use a lot of 12 personnel, but those blocks haven't necessarily been there from those positions. And as a result, either defenders have been able to come down the line of scrimmage, push the line of scrimmage, and knock out any cutback lanes the backs might have had, or they make plays chasing down the play from the backside. So I think from that standpoint, A&M has to do a much better job in its backside blocks, the reach blocks, and I think they also have to improve more so as well on the front side blocks, down blocks, the kick out blocks. They're not blocking, they're running more inside zone this year, less counter and power, but I think they have to just get back to being able to be more physical when they do make contact and working harder to seal people off and get some push up front in order to make the running game go.
Kellen Mond is a quarterback, Jeff, that, from a media standpoint, and watching from afar, he's really developed in the passing game. Got some big time receivers, Courtney Davis, Jamon Osborne, and those guys. How big is the passing game going to be? Because, there's the common thing that we're going to notice on both sides, both Arkansas and Texas A&M, is the size of the big receiver in tomorrow's ball game. How important will that receiving core be for Kellen and the Aggies tomorrow?
Last year, A&M didn't generate really any big plays offensively. Jamon Osborne got hurt in that game early on. Kendrick Rogers, who's played a bigger role this season, wasn't healthy. I think he sat out that game, and as a result, A&M really never got its passing game where they needed it to go. John Chavis, Arkansas's defensive coordinator, played a pure cover two, corners off the outside receivers, safeties back deep. They prevented A&M from really getting any opportunities to generate big plays. Not only that, they were able to pick off a couple of Kellen Mond passes and keep themselves in the game. I think from A&M's standpoint, if Arkansas comes out with something of the same strategy, they're just going to have to be patient. They're going to have to get down in the red zone, be able to run the football and convert what opportunities they do have. So instead of coming away with no points, I think they missed a couple, field goal or two last year. Instead of coming away with no points, they get some points on the board, and at least never allow Arkansas to build up enough emotion and enough momentum so that they can start feeling like, hey, look, we have a chance to win this game, or even just play with these guys like they did last season.
Talking with Jeff Tarpley of Gig 'em 247 Sports, covers all Texas A&M Aggies football for us here on the Hill. Jeff, I want to also get into the special teams. Both teams coming in with what I consider really elite special teams play early going in this early college football season. How important, or when you look at this matchup, Arkansas special teams versus Aggie special teams, who do you give the edge to in tomorrow's big SEC conference game?
On the surface, it'd definitely be A&M. A&M's special teams have been pretty good since Jimbo Fisher got there. In fact, A&M had a good special teams coach in Jeff Banks under Kevin Sumlin, and they usually had good special teams under Sumlin. Christian Kirk was certainly a difference maker in the return game and as a receiver against the Hogs during his 3 years in College Station. Man just really flips field position for you, and I think that's by far the biggest advantage of A&M has. He can, in exchange of pumps, A&M can pick up 5 to 10 yards. You do that 5 times a game, that's as good as a 50-yard pass, and people don't think of it like that. It's the hidden yardage that really doesn't come up on the surface when you look at stat sheets. So I think man definitely gives A&M an advantage in that regard. In addition, one of the things that he does really, really well is when A&M's backed up, he can uncork one of those 60-yard punts from, let's say, his own 20-yard line, and he could kick you back to your 20, or he can boot a 50 to 55-yarder. And as we saw against Clemson, the return, he outkicks the coverage, or not the coverage really, the blocking for the return team. The returner gets tackled immediately. The blockers end up getting a penalty, and all of a sudden, you have that happen a couple of times where it should have been a 50-yard punt as a 60-yard net, even though that may not show up in the stat sheet due to the penalty. As a result, I would definitely give the advantage to A&M in that regard.
Well, we got a couple minutes left here in this segment, but I want you to give me your offensive player in tomorrow's ball game and your defensive player and the final score with Arkansas versus Texas A&M.
I don't usually do final scores. Last year, I thought this game would be at least a 2-score game, and I'm going to go back to that this season. I think A&M is the better football team. They're just better on both lines. They have more veterans across the board. Arkansas is really young at receiver, young in the secondary. Arkansas is lighter on both the offensive and defensive line. So I think it depends on if Arkansas comes out and can force a couple of turnovers like they did last year, they can stay in this game. If not, then I definitely think this is a 2-score game. I think in terms of the offensive player of the game, I'm going to go with Spiller because I think A&M has to find a way to get the ball in his hands, and he's still a freshman, but he has done well against the less than stellar competition that A&M has faced this year, and I think tomorrow you'll see a better Isaiah Spiller than you did against Clemson or against Auburn. Defensively, if A&M's front four plays the way they do, then I think you'll get a very good game out of Mike linebacker Buddy Johnson. He's had a pretty solid season so far. He's a 230-pound guy who can run, and when he gets protection, he's going to lead you in tackles. And so I think that Buddy Johnson is probably going to show up on the stat sheet, and I think he's going to make a lot of stops near the line of scrimmage. I think that at the end of the day, he's going to be the guy that everybody points to as being the most visible aspect of A&M's success defensively tomorrow.
Well, Jeff, as always, love having you on. Look forward to catching up tomorrow in the press box. But as always, thanks for taking time out here on the Hill, my man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's the A edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio as we had a pre-record with Texags 247 Sports. Jeff Tarpley covering the A&M Aggies for us here on the Hill, giving us all his takes. We had to catch up with Jeff early this morning to get his takes on this big 11 a.m. kickoff in Jerrysville tomorrow. I want to come in real quick before we get our lineup set and let everyone know that this broadcast is brought to you by Lindsay & Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken. And real quick, I want to bring in my producer co-host, Demetrius Johnson. What's up? What's up? What's up? He's getting everything organized.
Oh, not much, trying to get over this cold still.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were under the weather. You wasn't feeling too good. When I spoke to you yesterday, man, you sound like you had 12 frogs in your throat.
Yeah, I'm a little better. I had to get a little sinus blaster and some good OJ, but I'm coming back.
Well, we're going to get this thing started. As next up, we're going to be joined here momentarily by the Arkansas Democrat Gazette's Scotty Borderland. We're going to talk Arkansas A&M and Demetrius. There was a basketball sighting in the practice facility yesterday. Arkansas and Coach Musselman began their 2019-2020 campaign with what they call training camp. We're going to catch up and let you hear momentarily excerpts from senior forward center Adriel Bailey, and then we're going to get this thing going. It's the A. And Scotty Borderland, he's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it. What's it been like being the elder statesman on the team? I mean, you're the older guy now. Let's talk about it.
Man, it flies by. Just the thing about just coming in and trying to learn the ropes. Now you teaching the ropes. So all in all, man, it's been a humble experience. From the previous year, just being here to even the coaching changes, all this experience and all that really matured me as not only as a person but as a player too. So I like it. I'm loving it, man.
Talk about that transition. How was that transition? And here as you sit here today, talk about a little bit more how the guys are handling things.
The transition, it was kind of tough at first because trying to learn a whole new system and all these plays and it's running up and down, trying to keep the same pace but with more plays and more strategies. So it was kind of difficult at first for everyone. But as it went on and coach, he made it fun for us. So we got to learn. We got to have fun and learn at the same time. So he made it good for everyone.
Very young team last year. For the first time in your career here at Arkansas, didn't make the NCAA tournament. Talk about how hungry this team is, and especially for you, Adriel, being your senior year, to get back to the NCAA tournament.
Oh, man, speaking for myself, I definitely want to go all. I'm giving everything I got, even in practice games. Even doing the media thing, I'll make sure I give it everything I got. I speak from the heart. I speak from the truth. So there's just how I'm coming. And, from the hunger standpoint of making it to the NCAA tournament, I've never seen so many people in the gym each and every day. If you come in at 6 o'clock in the morning, somebody's there. If you come in at 10, 11 o'clock at night, somebody's in here doing something to help the team, and not only the team but help themselves in the long run. So as a team, we're very hungry and eager to win games.
Talk about Coach Muss. What's it like to play for a guy that has so much NBA experience, and the staff that he's put together. Talk about that.
Just that's what, like I said before. It's kind of hard to not listen to him, even when he's trying to get under your skin, because he knows he know what it takes to be a pro. He know what pros do. He knows he was an NBA coach, so he knows like guys at the level that we're trying to get to. So at the end of the day, you got to listen to him. Even the people that he brought in are former NBA players, NBA coaches. So he's bringing in the type of energy and type of culture that Arkansas needs.
Welcome in, welcome in. It's our Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our A edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. And Arkansas's got a big game coming up with the Texas Stadium Aggies Southwest Conference Classic at 11 a.m. kickoff in Jerry's World. So we thought we'd catch up and talk a little football, but we're going to throw in a little basketball too with our good buddy, Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Scotty, welcome to the Hill, my man.
Thanks for having me, guys. What's going on?
We'll be momentarily connected with Mr. Borderland. I think it's just a temporary fix, but we'll be momentarily joined by Scotty as we get connected up with my guest here momentarily. My producer's getting everything in there. It is. Scotty, you there right now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's talk a little football. Arkansas is taking on the Texas Stadium Aggies. Jerry's World. Hadn't won this game, Scotty, in 7 previous outings since A&M came into the SEC. Talk about tomorrow's game and what must the Razorbacks do to get this bad taste of, Southwest Conference Classic defeats out of their mouth?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know that there's just a whole lot of confidence in this team, especially after last weekend and the last 5+ years, like you said. This team Arkansas hasn't finished at all in this series, and I think 5 of those 7 games have come down to 1 touchdown, and so it's always been Texas A&M that's made plays when they needed to. And I think Arkansas just got to do that a little bit. I'm sure they feel snaked and not being able to win anything in this series, and the defense has to improve. The secondary is going to have its biggest test of the season so far, covering 2 or 3 really, really talented receivers, big body receivers that can run. And defensively, Texas A&M's they're really tough. I think they're giving up like 20 points a game, not giving up anything easy, and they've played 2 top 10 teams and have played them pretty tough. So Arkansas's got his work cut out for himself.
The thing that I've noticed about Arkansas defensively, but real more important, let's talk about Texas Stadium offense. Kellen Mond, the 3rd-year starter there going into his junior year, just seems, in my opinion, Scotty, each and every time you see Kellen from freshman to junior year, he's gotten better. Talk about how important it is for Arkansas to be real disruptive and get some pressure on Mond, defensively to give themselves the best chance, because that's not, that wasn't the case last weekend. Here in Fayetteville versus San Jose State. Talk about that. How important is it that the front 4 really impacts this game very early on?
Oh, man, yeah, it's really important. Josh Love basically sat in the pocket, and Chad said he had time to eat a sandwich last weekend, and then beat him with some underneath stuff, and then obviously beat DBs over the top, too. They've got to knock Mond off the spot, and, to this point, I haven't really seen anything that tells me that's going to happen. Arkansas's top 4 defensive tackles last weekend combined for 2 tackles. And Nick Starkle and Rakeem Boyd combined for 2 tackles last week. So that's a little bit alarming to me. First sack against the Mountain West team, like San Jose State, didn't come until the 3rd quarter. And it was Jamario Bell that did it. I mean, it wasn't Sosa, it wasn't Gabe Richardson, it wasn't Soley. It was Jamario. And, they just got to get a better collective effort from everybody in that front 4, and then the linebackers have to play well, and DBs have to do their job. They can't, They can't be running. They can't be running chasing somebody.
Right.
It's going to be a test.
I want to talk about Arkansas's offensive line versus this A&M defensive line. It's a line of scrimmage lead. You and I talk about it at the practices, also here on weekly show. How important is it that they're able to establish the running game? Because there's still a lot there to be desired in the running game. When you get into the SEC with these great defensive lines, how important is that to be established? So Debois, Raheem, and possibly was even mentioned Wednesday when we had availability with Chad that might have a Monte Spivey sighting. Talk about the running game. How big is that, especially in tomorrow's game?
Oh yeah, I think you mentioned Arkansas's offensive line at first. They've had a chance to set the tone, I think, and really have fun this weekend. Democratic. It was funny. He caught a lot of flack earlier in the week. He said he just didn't know what happened to the offensive line. Had to ask them. Well, we didn't get them on Tuesday, so we couldn't ask them. But yeah, those guys, golly, they've got to play a lot better. I think you were at one point. Austin Capps was out. Kirby Adcock was in the game, and then Dalton Wagner came out, and Ryan Winkle went in, and then you also had Byron Cunningham at left tackle. So you look at that group right there with Mike Larry and Ricky Stromberg at center and right guard. And you had three guys on that line that on the depth chart, like in the game notes, weren't supposed to be playing. And so it was really troubling because you figure guys who were recruited to play SEC football could, create some push and blow San Jose State guys off the ball, and it didn't happen. I'm sure they got laid into pretty good this week, and they want to respond. I think Chad said on Tuesday or Wednesday that they have responded, but we'll see what that means. Texas A&M's front line is really talented, really tough, really physical. So, like I said earlier, I guess their work cut out for them.
Talking with Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, talking Arkansas football. I want to flip over to another big-time program that is about to get going that you cover quite well for us here on OTH, and that's the basketball program. No longer is it media day or opening practice. They call it training camp. We had access to the guys, Coach Musman and the team yesterday in the practice facility. What were some of your takes when watching a little bit of the workout?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I think we saw him shoot a lot yesterday, and one of the things is Isaiah Joe's shot is pretty as ever, and Mason I think he's taking some steps forward. I think he's still got to get over maybe some of the mental hurdles that were there a little bit last year. I know Musselman talked about that. I think it was on Tuesday. He'll have a really good practice, shoot the lights out, come back and he can't get things to go, and sometimes that mental side takes over a little bit. He's got to get over that. And I think Jalen Harris. I watched Jalen shoot a lot yesterday. I think in terms of just the way his shot should look, I think it's looking better than it was last year.
Right.
I think he's more up and down, and I think I think he had a tendency last year to right before he released the shot, that ball would kind of cross over to the center of his chest, or going on the left side of his chest, would come across. I think it's more centered on the right side of his body, which is a good thing. It'll help with the form and getting some arc on his shot. And Vanover showed out yesterday too. Probably not going to get to see him this year, but that team segments they did, he knocked down 3 threes in one of those games. He was looking pretty good. I talked with Reggie Chain too yesterday, and he said he thought he was playing a little robotic last year, and I can't really disagree with him, but he's I think he's going to be playing more freely and with a lot more confidence. And that's obviously something the coaching staff has talked with him about. And he's going to be big, especially with Vanover not being cleared. Reggie's going to be a vital part of what they do.
Real quick, Scotty, we got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left in this segment. I want you to give me your offensive player for the Arkansas Razorbacks in the Southwest Classic and your defensive player for tomorrow's kickoff and the final score of the Aggies and Hogs, in your opinion.
Oh man, I guess on the offensive side of the ball, I might go with Trey Knox. I think that guy is really special. Like he's dealt with some hand injuries. That hip injury is lingering from Ole Miss, but man, he still goes out and he produces, shows up every week. So I'll go with Knox. On the defensive side, it's kind of hard to pick a guy on defense.
Right.
I'll go with Scuda. I think he's always. It seems like he's always good for 9, 10, 11 tackles a game, and he played really, really well last year. I think he finished like 15 plus tackles last year in this game. So I'll go with him. Maybe comes up with maybe forces a turnover or something. I expect him to play well, but I'll go Texas A&M 31, Arkansas 17.
All right, well, Scotty, I'll catch you. You guys, I know you're traveling today, but I want to let you know, have a safe trip, and thanks for taking time out here on the Hill, and I'll catch up with you in the press box tomorrow morning, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sounds good. Y'all be safe going down.
All right, my man. That was Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette with his take on Arkansas football game versus the A&M Aggies, and also, too, a little bit of insight as to how he sees things shaking out with the 2019-2020 version of the Arkansas Razorback basketball team. But we're going to take a quick break. I'll let you hear more of our media day availability with the Hoop Hogs. And then next up, we'll be talking with Alyssa Orange of the Pig Trail Nation. She's up next. It's the A, and it's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
Anything from like
Back in a bit.
how many times you cut somebody off, or not even like just grabbing rebounds or just like attempting to get rebounds. They're just so every little thing, they'll pull up film, they'll pull up numbers, and it's different, but it's definitely helpful.
How does it help?
Definitely, you look at it and you analyze it and you see what you can do to improve. Seeing maybe you could have jumped this way to cut them off, or you could have stepped back, whatever. Any little thing that we look at, we analyze it, and there's always something that we can take from it.
You two, what are you looking at?
Definitely got to improve on like defense, things that sort. I'm always, gonna trying to gain weight, get stronger. But all in all, I'm gonna do what I do best. I'm gonna shoot the ball.
Mason was talking about the Breakfast Club. What was that?
It was in the summer. We had 7 a.m. We had 7 a.m. lift sessions, and so we'll come in like 5:30 and 6 o'clock to get some shots up, And every time we would come up, that's just another day that we would just get a little bit better, and that's what it's about, just getting a little bit better every day.
What motivated you to do that?
Definitely the fact that we're a team. So somebody like J5 or like a Mason or me or Desi will come together and be like, hey, y'all trying to get shots in before weights, because why not? It's only going to make us better. So just being able to do that with them definitely gave us a little bit more motivation to go out and shoot.
Welcome back. It's our Friday edition of On the Hill. It's our A edition of On the Hill, and we like to do it each and every week here on KDSJ 479. And real quick, before we get to our next hog guest to give her takes on the Razorbacks Aggies and also a little bit about the basketball program, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken for their kind sponsorship, as this would not be possible without you all. But want to move on. We talk to her every week, and she gives us a lot of the 411. We're going to bring in my good buddy and someone I consider a great sis, Alyssa Orange of the Pig Trail Nation. Ayo.
Hey, Pat.
Welcome to OTH.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing real good. I'm doing real good. Want to talk a little football, and hopefully it turns out pretty good for the Razorbacks. They travel to Jerry's World. I'm pretty sure you guys are en route to Dallas as we speak. Talk about some of your game keys, Alyssa, for tomorrow that you're going to really, really pay attention to in this ball game.
Well, first and foremost, it's always interesting, and I think this game is one of the hardest to predict every year because if you look back on it, 4 of the last 5 games between these two teams in Dallas have been decided by 7 points. And 3 of those games were in overtime. And in a handful of those games, Arkansas had the lead and lost it. So regardless of record, regardless of ranking, these two teams always seem to play really well against each other. So despite what we saw against San Jose State, which makes you want to say absolutely Texas A&M wins this game, it's hard to 100% commit to that because of how Arkansas has always played A&M in the past. Now, I think if Arkansas wants an opportunity to win this game, you've got to go back to how they executed against Colorado State in terms of getting offensively on a rhythm. You know, they were balanced in that attack against the Rams with the passing game and the run game. They need to make sure they continue to do that because we saw firsthand how if Raheem Boyd is being successful, your wide receivers are being successful.
Right.
And so it helps. I think that's what they have to do offensively. I think you need to start getting key playmakers involved. Get the ball to guys like T.J. O'Grady. I think having Traylon Burks back is going to be huge for this team because if you look at it, for whatever reason, Traylon Burks didn't play last week, whether or not it's true that the coaches were just holding him out because they didn't think they needed him. Clearly they were wrong. I can gamble if that's true that they shouldn't have done, but you have that second threat taken away, and a lot of your focus goes on Trey Knox, and then you're asking other guys who aren't as talented as the two of them to step up, counter Trey Knox. We'll see how that really hurt them last week. So it'll be good to get them back. Defensively, I mean, I think it's going to start up front. If this defensive line does not get any kind of pressure on Kellen Mond, then this is going to be a really long game. And the secondary is going to have to be really, really disciplined. And I know they're young, and they've been picked on. They were picked on by Ole Miss, but they've got to be able to keep guys in front of them and don't give up chunk plays. That's huge. I feel like against A&M every year, Pat, we've seen it. All Arkansas needs to do is get a stop, and somehow Texas A&M takes a shot downfield. I mean, that is how they won, and that's how they came back in a lot of these games where Arkansas had the lead late in the fourth quarter. They throw it downfield long, and they let a guy get behind them, and that it goes for a 75-yard touchdown. So you can't give up plays like that and expect to win tomorrow. So.
The thing that I also want to ask you, Alyssa, and you always think about there's three phases to football: kicking game, defense, offense. Kicking game also too seems to be a factor. As last year, you open up with a kickoff return by A&M. And you're already 7-0 down. Talk about that part of the game. How important is it that Arkansas, if not be the better team in that department, kind of play it to a standoff? How important is that for tomorrow's game?
Yeah, no, I think it's huge. I mean, I think it's huge in every aspect, in everything. But especially in this one, you're going to have to, especially if you're starting off slow, like they have, and they need to be able to flip the field with their punches. They need to be able to put A&M back as far as they can and make them go down the field. Look at this game in the past. You have some of the biggest special teams plays, like the Sam Hill fake punt, but he caught it back for the touchdown, which we all remember seeing. And then I think that same game they missed a field goal that would have never taken that game into overtime, and Arkansas would have won. Right. So. You look at a lot of things, special teams is huge, and it's an area where people don't talk about it much as that. Connor Limpert is one of the most reliable kickers Arkansas had in the past couple of years, since Zach Hawker left. So I think it's important for this team to really rely on that, but you just have to be smart. You can't make stupid plays. You got to be smart, and penalties and unsportsmanlike kind of stuff. You just got to make sure you clean up your play. I think that's huge.
Let's flip over to the other side, Alyssa. You and I and many of the local media had a chance to make our way over to Razorback basketball practice as they opened up training camp yesterday. From your vantage point, the availability that we had from what you were able to see, what's your take on the 2019-2020 version of Razorback basketball under Eric Musselman?
Well, I think there's a lot of energy. I think these guys are ready to go. I mean, we were able to watch a little bit of Mike Garrison's practices in the past, once or twice, and a lot of what we saw was fun drills. They're running around, walking on the field, running the drills. We didn't actually get to see the meat and potatoes of practice. We got to see that yesterday, so I'm not comparing welcome into Anderson practice by any means. It's just what we saw, right? So we got to see game, action scenarios, and we got to see, two teams going against each other, and you got Musselman down there doing some dribbling drills with the guys as well, and see the guys' faces, and local stop, see that again. That was kind of, the biggest standout is that it's a loud, it's a vocal practice, it's a fast-paced practice. I mean, Musselman's lug around with a piece of paper, he's organized, but if you're like one of us, I mean, it feels like it's all over the place. It's like first they're doing team stuff, then it's like, okay, you're going to take 2 minutes, go shoot real fast. We're going to come back, do more team stuff. All right, go shoot some more. All right, we're going to go over here and do some dribbling control press stuff. So, he's got this fast pace and mixes it up. And so that really stood out. Guys are being vocal. You got a guy like Jimmy Witt back. I joked with him yesterday. It's like, man, I talked to you. You're a freshman to know what you're a redshirt senior. He's like, yeah, it's crazy. I played with Trey Thompson. Now he's one of my DAs. He goes, I hosted Adrian Bailey on his visit. And now I'm playing with him. So it's pretty crazy. But he is out there being vocal, being a leader.
Right.
You hear guys like Jalen Harris being vocal, and even Kevin Bills being vocal. So, you've got guys who are really working hard, and from what I saw, trying to get this team ready to go. And I know they're excited and ready to go. And not trying to sugarcoat this at all. They're small, and if Connor Vanover can't play, their biggest guy is going to be Reggie Cheney, and he understands that. They're going to be a smaller team, but they're going to try to combat that with their shooting and their pacing.
Right.
So those are the biggest takeaways that I took.
Got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. Real quick, Alyssa, I know you're en route heading to Dallas to cover this Southwest Conference Classic, number 8, I believe, since Arkansas no more, but they trying to get that win. They've lost the last 7, but I want you to give me your offensive player of the game for tomorrow and your defensive player, and listen, your final score.
Okay. All right. Well, I think my offensive player of the game is going to have to be Nick Circle. What you can't have is, in order to be successful against A&M, is a quarterback who's going to throw 5 interceptions. Nick Circle needs to keep a level head, not try to force things like he did against San Jose State. And he's talented. That's why he's still the starting quarterback. This team believes in him. His coaching staff believes in him. He just needs to be able to go out there and handle the pressure of playing his old team for the first time and be successful. That's what's going to make this offense go. Defensively, I think it's so big. He has got to get pressure. He's got to get his hands on Kellen Mond. And he's my player defensively. Score-wise, however, had I said it from the beginning of the year, I thought Arkansas was the year they beat A&M. But to be very honest with you, after what I saw against San Jose State, it is hard for me to continue to shoot Arkansas and to continue to be proven wrong in big games like this. And so now for me, you got to show me something first before you can win. I think you can win big games. I have Texas A&M winning 38-17.
All right. Well, Alyssa, you guys have a safe trip down. And as always, sis, thanks for taking time out here on OTH.
Anytime, anything for you, Pat. Take it easy.
All right. That was Alyssa Orange of the Pig Trail Nation. We're going to continue on with more training camp interviews. We caught up with junior guard Mason Jones. We'll hear what Mason has to say, and then follow up that with Otis Kirk of Hallville.net. And when the 3 of us get together, Otis, Demetrius, and myself, what follows up that. That's all next, and it's coming to you real quick. It's the A, and it's on the hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ.
Not be a distraction, just doing the right things and just doing what's best for the team.
After a year with Coach Anderson, what's been the biggest change that you've seen with Musselman and his camp coming in?
Just how effective and how NBA style practice is. It's just everything is NBA. Like it's not like this is not preseason. He called it training camp. So us knowing that he treating us like NBA players and he getting us ready is just amazing.
Didn't make the NCAA tournament last year for the first time here in Arkansas's program. Mason, how hungry is this basketball team to get back to the big dance and do what you guys are used to doing here at Arkansas?
This team is real hungry. I just feel like as we take one game at a time,
and we just continue to trust our coaching staff that we will be more hungrier and we'll just continue to lead the way that Coach Muss is leading us. I just feel like as long as we just take one cheer at a time and just play as hard as we can and play together as a team, I feel like we should make a run.
What's the one part of your game, that you feel going into year 2 here at Arkansas that you've really improved on and that you really set out to make a strength?
Athleticism. I wanted to be able to show that instead of getting to the rim and using my body all the time, I can get up and go slam one time and just be more athletic this year. Not stay off the floor a lot. Don't do a lot of arguing. Don't do a lot. Just don't be a distraction. I just want to be a leader for this team and just lead the way.
The one thing I noticed here in the short bit that we got a chance to watch is the communication of this basketball league. Is that something you guys worked on in the off season and things that you guys did, with Coach Muss leading up to training camp?
Yeah, we did. He always told me about talking, so as long as we talk, he's happy. But if we don't talk, he's not happy. He's making us run. So as long as we communicate with each other, we're going to get better and better.
I asked Jalen this question. What's it like to have Coach Crutchfield, a guy that, developed Buddy Hale, Trey Young, also too Corey Williams, who's been in the NBA, got rings, played at a high level. What does that mean to have two coaches that pretty much played the guard spot now here at Arkansas coaching you?
It's crazy because they always pushing me and Zay and Desi, and J5 and Jimmy, so they know things that we don't know and they see things that we don't see, so to get that knowledge from them two great men and two coaches is amazing. And knowing that they done been at the highest where we're trying to go, it's exciting.
What's the one message that you have for the Razorback fans? Welcome back. It's the A segment here. It's our Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio here on KDSJ 479. And we like to always talk Razorback football on Fridays, Razorback athletics in general. But nobody can do it better when they're with us than this next guest we're about to bring in, Otis Turk of Hogville.net. Otis, welcome to OTH, my man.
Hey, Pat. Thanks for having me on here, man.
Time to talk a little Aggies and Hogs, Otis. Arkansas has been on the losing end the previous 7 times in this Southwest Conference Classic. Talk about tomorrow's game, Otis. Heading in, kickoff at 11 a.m. in Jerry's World. What are some of the things that you're going to be paying attention to when you get to the stadium tomorrow morning?
Well, I think Arkansas has, obviously Arkansas can't beat themselves. They can't turn the ball over 5 times. They can't turn it over 3 times. They've got to win. They need to win the turnover battle, but the least they've got to do is not turn it over to themselves. If they don't create turnovers, as long as they're not committing them, then it gives you a chance, but they can't beat themselves. They can't just leave points off on the field. I mean, last week they got down there a couple of times. They didn't take a field goal. They went for 4th and short, didn't get it either time, or they got it once, but they didn't get it twice. Just when you get a chance to score, Pat, score points. Don't cut out the big plays on defense. I mean, the last few weeks they started off with long touchdown or long plays on the first series the opponent has, and get away from that. Make them earn everything they get, because the Aggies are going to make Arkansas earn it, and they need to do the same. And you give up big plays on defense, and your offense is giving the ball away 5, 6, 7 times, or 5 times, and then not converting 4th down twice. That's a recipe to get beat by anybody, much less San Jose State. But A&M will embarrass them if they turned in that same performance, same effort, 5 turnovers, and big plays on defense. A&M will embarrass them. I don't think Arkansas will do that tomorrow, but if they do, it won't be pretty.
The key when you watch this A&M offense, it starts and ends with their junior quarterback, 3-year starter, Kellen Mond. As you watch Kellen over the growth of this series in his career, it just seems like each and every year this guy has gotten better and better and better. Talk about what Arkansas has to do defensively versus Kellen tomorrow to give that team and themselves the best chance to win that game tomorrow.
Yeah, you can't let him run on you. I thought they did a great job against him last year. I mean a great job. I mean they, it ended up 24-17, Pat, and a 100-yard kick or a touchdown on the opening kickoff proved to be the difference. If they can just contain Mond and make him one-dimensional, but obviously you can't get no pass rush on him and give up such cushions in the secondary. We saw that Saturday. We've seen it another time. Yeah, you got to make him uncomfortable at least back there. And I just think you've got to, do some things to not let him get outside containment and run the ball. Because if he's running, we know he's going to hit some passes. But if he's running too, it's not, that's not what Arkansas wants. They want to make him one-dimensional. And can they do it? We'll see. But that's what you're getting into on Saturday.
Talking with Otis Kirk here. For those that have just tuned in to us on the Hill, Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our A edition of On the Hill. Real quick before we get into our picks, let's flip over to Eric Musselman and his version of the 2019-2020 Arkansas Razorback basketball squad. They call it training camp, Otis. We had access yesterday to watch roughly about an hour worth of the workout. Yeah. What were some of the takes that you had when you left the practice facility about this year's basketball team?
Well, it appears they're going to play hard. I mean, I think they'll be fundamentally sound. They're going to be lacking some height, especially if Connor Vandover's not Randy's waiver, which I guess it's not going to since we're talking about almost 1st of October and it hasn't happened yet. Right. But no, I just think that it's going to be an exciting group. It's something new, so obviously everybody's going to be interested. It'll be fun to watch. We'll just have to see how Arkansas does, but I think they're going to be okay. I really do. I think the Hogs will be okay in basketball this year. I think they're going to be competitive. They're not where they're trying to get to be, but I think they're going to be okay. They're going to be fun to watch.
Well, you know what time it is. We're about to get that music queued up, and we're about to get the this week's Otis, Pat, and Demetrius SEC picks of the week. As soon as Demetrius gives me the cue, Otis, I think we're ready to roll. So let's load it up and get it going.
First game on the slate. We'll call out Towson
takes on the Florida Gators. Where we at, Otis?
I'll take Florida.
Demetrius?
I'm gonna take Florida as well.
I'm going Florida. Not by if, it's just by how much in that ball game.
Next one up, we're going to have South Carolina
taking on the Kentucky Wildcats. Where we at?
That could be a good game. That might be one of the better games of the day. I'll take South Carolina.
Demetrius?
You say which game is this?
South Carolina and the Kentucky Wildcats.
Ooh, they both need a big win. This is a big game. I'm going to have to go South Carolina. I think Kentucky just doesn't have that quarterback situation figured out yet, so I'm going to South Carolina.
I'll take South Carolina just because they're at home, and as you said, I agree with you. Also, they need a big win in the worst way, and, Kentucky having their quarterback out, you just kind of want to lean to the home team in this big SEC ball game.
Next up, Vanderbilt takes on
Northern Illinois. Where we at, Otis?
Northern Illinois has got 2 weeks to prepare for them, but we saw what happened last Saturday in Fayetteville. I still go with Vandy, though. I think they get the win here.
I agree. I'm going to stick with Vandy, too.
Yeah, I'm a D Mason fan. Like what he's starting to build there at Vanderbilt. Maybe not look as good as I had predicted to this point, but I do think they get the big time victory in Jamal's ball game. I'll take the Vanderbilt Commonwealth as well.
Next ball game.
One of the big ones, Mississippi State takes on the Auburn Tigers. Otis?
Yeah, I think Mississippi State's overrated. I really do. I'm going to go with Auburn in this one. I picked them, if you remember, last week to beat A&M down at College Station. I'm going to go with Auburn again. I just think Mississippi State may be a little overrated.
I'm riding that Gus Bus too. I'm going to Auburn.
I just think Auburn, that defensive line and that defense in particular, I think that front may be the best in the conference. And being in the Plains, coming off a big win there in CSTAT the previous week, lets me know. I think the Auburn Tigers get this one. I think they get this one as well.
Next up, and we know what time it is.
Ole Miss travels to Tuscaloosa to take on the Crimson Tide.
I hope someday I can come on this show and pick any team but Alabama. I mean, any team. I don't care who it is. Of course, I'd love to pick Arkansas, but any team. No, I'll go with Alabama, as I hate to.
Demetrius?
We're going to roll tide, man. I think that's a blowout.
Man, like I said, another score. It's not a matter of if, it's about how much. I think they protect home field and they get this game. We'll take roll tide. Our game of the week on the SEC Network, kickoff set for 11 a.m. in Jerry's World. The Southwest Classic, Arkansas versus A&M. And I want an offensive player, defensive player, and the final score in tomorrow's ball. Otis?
Okay, as I hate to do this, let's see, on the offensive player of the game, I'm not that I hate to pick the team. I didn't mean, I'll tell you why I hate to pick in a minute. Rakeem Boyd on the offense. On defense, I'll go with Cam Curl. I'm going to pick A&M, as I hate to. I can't. They find a way to win this game. I'll go with them 24-14.
Demetrius?
Yeah, I honestly don't have a score, but I say A&M wins by 2 touchdowns. And as far as player of the game, defense, I think it's gonna have to be somebody in the secondary. So I'll go Monteric Brown. He was a big piece of last week's loss. Not having him, I really see the value that Monteric really plays. He doesn't always necessarily have the stats as far as pass breakups and interceptions, but when you look at his production on the field and how much players actually get the ball when he's guarding, it's not a lot. So I'm going to go with Monteric Brown. And then on offense, you know what? I'm going to go Cheyenne O'Grady. I say Cheyenne comes out. He knows he's performing in front of Jerry Jones. He knows he's looking for an NFL contract coming this year, and I think he understands what this game can do for him as far as his draft stock. So I'm going to go Cheyenne O'Grady.
All right. Now, finally, my take on it. I'm going to go offensive player of the game. I'm going to go Traylon Burks. I think he's just set up coming off a week where he had a chance to get his body right. Was in concussion protocol last week. I think Traylon comes out. It's going to be a big-time problem for that Texas A&M secondary. So I'll go with true freshman Traylon Burks as my offensive player. My defensive player, I'm going to go as my good buddy and my sister, Alyssa Orange went. I'm going to go I'm going to go Scooter Harris at that position because I just think Scooter, from all my times covering this game down in Jerry's World, he always seems to play his best football in this particular game at that linebacker position. And I'm going to step outside the box. I've always, and I said it before the season started, and even at SEC Media Day, and continuously been saying it, they're going to be the team that they're not supposed to be. I think A&M comes in this ball game looking ahead because they've got a big one versus Alabama coming up in C-Stat. And I think they're going to be looking ahead. Arkansas coming off a very disappointing victory versus San Jose State. I think A&M's a little banged up also, so I'm going to take Arkansas 27-20 to break this 7-game loser streak in the Southwest Classic. That'll be my final score, and I think that's going to wrap it up for our picks and for our guests. Otis, thanks for taking time out on the hill, my man.
Thank you, and I like your pick a lot better than mine. I hope you're right, man. I'd love to come on here next week and tell you were right. I'll see you, Pat. Thanks for having me on, man.
That was Otis Kirk of the Hogville.net joining us to give his take on Arkansas football, basketball, and we always enjoy having Otis be a part of our weekly SEC picks of the week. And I want to give a shout out to my big man Demetrius. Also, too, want to let everyone know we'll be on air tonight as we will be calling the play-by-play on 106.1 Red Dirt Radio. The Fayetteville Bulldogs travel to Bentonville to take on the Bentonville West Wolverines in the 7A West Conference opener. Pre-game show starts at 6:30 with the kickoff set for 7 p.m. We want to give a thank you also to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. Anything you need to look good, call Corey. He'll make you happy. Locomotion. It's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. And one of my favorite sponsors, KDK's Chicken, located at 989 Razorback Road. Go see Keith and Kevin. Get your play that love. Once again, it's not your mama's. For our guest, Jeff Tarpley of 247 Sports, giving us the A&M 411. I want to give a thank you for him coming on. Also, to Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. He gave us the whole football and basketball talk, as did my sister and really good reporter of the Pick Trail Nation, Alyssa Orange, and we wrapped up, like you said, with Otis Kirk of Hogville.net. That's going to do it for myself, For Demetrius, we'll have much, much more as we'll be traveling as also to the Arkansas A&M Southwest Classic. We'll have interviews, post-game interviews, and much more from Jerry's World. Just tune in. I'm pretty sure you'll like it. That'll do it for the A and for the entire week. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy. And it's on the hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one. And let's get